Go ahead. Oh. Conte. Oh, Percy. I beg, make you go again.
Go again.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. You dey start.
Okay, let's start.
All right, let's start.
Antonio Conte. I thought Italians were the ones who actually work magic when it comes to Premier League, because if you're actually talking about the country that has produced most coaches to win the Premier League, you can't take Italy out. Conte himself, you can talk of Mancini, you can talk of a whole lot of coaches, and it's like a second coming is really not as we expected it to be.
So you agree now he's overrated?
I wouldn't say so. I always tell you, Conte is a B- coach. It's a B-. He's fairly. I think he came to the wrong team with the wrong ideology and at the wrong time, because for the Conte that I know, one, he doesn't set up with this caliber of players that he has at Tottenham. You know, Tottenham over the years, from the time that you had the new coaches coming in, that is talk of Pochettino bringing in the fluid football and everything, it was all an attacking. They didn't really win anything. Even when they didn't buy any player in the 18-19 season, they could go on to the Champions League final. But you know, Conte is the rugged stereotype type of manager who likes mechanical players, and you look at Tottenham and I really don't see the Conte handwriting on the team at all.
Well, I think Tottenham look a lost team. First of all, talk about Conte having a handwriting. There's no handwriting on this Tottenham team.
Of course.
And for me, the more you look at the issues bedeviling Tottenham, you probably want to have a deeper look at the hierarchy.
Of
You want to have a deeper look at why they have made some of the decisions they have made and why they have come to this point. Because I feel that this is a blessed generation of Tottenham players and they are wasting potential. Honestly, they are wasting a lot of potential. That for me, I have my reservations about Conte, all right, but I think if you want to look at Conte and Tottenham, you need to look at the whole project holistically. It's a case of people at the top not understanding the dynamics of the team, people at the top not understanding what it is to move this team forward. Because hypothetically, give this same team to another manager who has encompassed the ideals of contemporary football, and you would have Tottenham firing on all cylinders. Because nobody can tell me that Tottenham does not have a team that is not littered with a lot of class. But you look at the performances. Yes, they've been flat bully tracks against some of the smaller teams, but against some of the biggest teams, in fact, against all of the biggest teams, Tottenham have simply not showed up.
Now, you take the game into retrospective. At first, I wanted to pardon the fact that he is missing, or the team is missing players, but I wouldn't pardon the team for that, because like you said, they are blessed with a lot of players in every department. You take the central defense, you can get about 5 players. If you take the right wing, you can either play Perisic on the right, you can play Mark Doherty on the right, you can play Emerson Royale, you can play Romero there. The left, you have Sessegnon there, you have a lot of players. You come to the midfield, you have Bentancur, a whole lot of players. So people will say, oh, when Kulusevski came into the game changed. But you have Harry Kane. You have a player that has won the Golden Boot twice and has been second like 3 times. You can say that, okay, and Son too is absent, but this season, Son is not firing like last season, so it's all on Harry Kane. But you check the team. How can a team play 31 crosses? So you realize it was more or less like the whole tactics was just messed up. So it was like cross and inshallah, just like you say. So they were just crossing, and Harry Kane is not the player that is known for headers. So if you cross in, and the funny thing is that he was playing Harry Kane and Perisic up front. Perisic, I've known him from the Inter days to Bayern to Dortmund, has never played as a number 10 or a number 9. So it was more or less like he was trying to experiment, and you are meeting Liverpool. So it was more or less like he was trying to overload the midfield. So there was Betancourt over there was Emil Højbjerg there, and there was another player there. But Liverpool realized that for them to meet a team like Tottenham, they just need to overload the midfield. Because if they overload the midfield, there is no Perisic playing today as a right winger. He's gone forward. So where will the threats come from? So they had to bring in Harvey Elliott. They had to bring Firmino to his conventional position, the number 10, so that they will put Darwin Núñez and Salah up front. So when they are without the ball, they have 5 players in the midfield, and that is what Rodrigo Bentancur is not a better ball handler than Thiago Alcantara. So obviously the midfield was worn. And it was more that he was trying to play a flat back 5. Although, of course, they will be the inverted wingers. But Emerson Royal is not known to be a right winger or a wing back. No, he's not known for that. For Ryan Sessegnon, he was not playing like that in Fulham. When he was brought in, because of the 3-4-3 they were playing, he was brought in. So you realize his defensive prowess is very, very low. So playing against Liverpool, the only way you can beat Liverpool is to play not according to their tune. But they just give the ball to them. You decided to play like them, overload your defense. Liverpool doesn't mind how many defenders you overload because they don't play through the middle. They play through the wings. You gave the wings to them, and you decided to leave them to play whatever. That was why they had to just play with crosses. And I was like, why do you float in the balls? Why do you float them in? Look at Van Dijk's height.
Well, I understand all of your lamentations, and rightly so. I choose to call them lamentations because I think that, first of all, you talk about the fact that when Kulusevski came in, the dynamics of the game changed. You see, coaching is about seeing the right option, seeing the right combination, seeing the right picture. And you cannot insulate Conte from all of the blame, because the point is that he's been there for close to a year, and you expect that he knows his best team up until this point. But I think that as much as we want to dwell on the inefficiencies of Tottenham, we need to give a lot of credit also to Liverpool. I think that it's been a very difficult start to the season. It's been a difficult start to the season for Liverpool. They've had their ups and downs, but like we said in the preview, if there's one team that you expect to show up, especially against Tottenham or against any of the big boys, it has to be Liverpool. It has to be their talisman in Salah. And for me, credit needs to be given to Jurgen Klopp, how he set his team up. Like you said, I mean, he didn't mind conceding the midfield or the wings to Tottenham or Spurs, then eventually concentrated on his own strength. Had to do with bringing in his white players. Salah has always been phenomenal when it comes to scoring goals in the biggest of games. So not too surprising, but I think I struggle to see the direction Tottenham choose to move from this point, because it doesn't look pleasant. It doesn't look interesting. It doesn't look encouraging. For a season that so much was expected about Tottenham, they are not delivering. And Percy, you see, the dynamics of the EPL now, if you're losing games in the number that Spurs is, if you're losing against some of the biggest teams on the land, then you're obviously going to be. You look at the league table today. There is the silent killer in Newcastle. Nobody is taking note of them, but silently they are doing the job that we expected Spurs to be doing. They are doing their job silently, getting results, racking up points. And then you look at the top two: Arsenal, there's City, there's Newcastle, then there's Tottenham in 4th place. But I mean, you look at the teams beneath them. Manchester United is 5th, Chelsea I think is 6th, and the teams beneath them are starting to rack a lot of pressure on them. I look at the games that they have lost, especially the big games against Chelsea, against Arsenal, against United, and then today against Liverpool. You cannot lose these number of games, expect to be in the top 4.
Of course,
it doesn't look right.
Of course, because you are competing against them, and like you rightly said, if you really want to get, you see, Conte could have been sacked this weekend if he had lost the Champions League game. I always say that if he has anybody to thank, he has to thank Pierre-Emile Højbjerg for scoring the late winner. And this season is a deciding season for Tottenham, because Son is on the radar of Real Madrid. Harry Kane decided to stay, because now if he looks at what Haaland is doing, he will be very sad, because he had a chance to.
It could have been him.
It should have been him.
Could have been
but
him.
you forced him, you pushed him to stay. There is no player in the history of football to have scored the number of goals Harry Kane has scored and never win anything, not even a Carabao Cup. Now he's third. He's only behind Rooney and what do you call it? Shearer. He's almost reaching 200 league goals.
All for nothing.
And if you take from number 1 to number 8, including Jamie Vardy, every single one of them has won a Premier League. That's the least each of them has won. And he's the only one who has not won. He's hitting 29. So you don't expect him to stay for the next season. So he would want to go. You talk of Son. And these are the major players in your team. And like you said, you talk of Daniel Levy, and you see whatever. It's like it's Arsenal 2.0, because Arsenal gave excuses that they were building Emirates, and as a result of that, we have to wait. And for Arsenal, you could pardon them. After all, they've won the Premier League and all that. But Tottenham, it was just Tottenham and United who have never gone 10 years without winning. So it's only with United that they never go 10 years without winning anything. And now this is the case that Tottenham since 2008 has won nothing. Nobody talks about them. Of course, they are a very small team. Nobody talks about them, but they are now earning the honors of a top 6 team. This season is a make or break, because if they don't win anything, you don't expect Harry Kane to stay. Bayern now do not have a center forward, and they will gladly grab in because they don't have a center forward. Choupo-Moting is just a makeshift center forward over there. Son, Real Madrid would want him to be there. So if you lose these 2 players, where do you build from? And like you said, Conte, you bring in Conte. Conte is a downgrade of Mourinho. It's a downgrade of Mourinho, like 2 steps or 3 steps down. Whatever Mourinho was doing was even better than what Conte was doing. You brought in Espirito Santo. He didn't even give him time, because he's just a coach that is just doing something with a Wolves that is more like an academy that gets players in their shape and sells them. So
well, I mean to end, who do you fancy to finish above who? Liverpool, Spurs?
For Liverpool, I don't expect them to be in the top 4, not because of maybe where they are, but you realize that they are in a roller coaster season. Liverpool can get a team and beat them. You see what Liverpool did to City, and what happened the next week. So right now we don't even know what is going to happen next week. This midweek there is a match, and funny enough, they've lost to the 2 bottom class. So they meet the big teams. They are more like the Peter Pan of football. They rob the rich and they give it to the poor. So Liverpool,
Robin Hood.
I expect United to are very inconsistent, but I expect United to at least be there, because they have not really been maybe here and there. Maybe just one just comes in like a normal. But for Liverpool, they can win 2 on a bounce. They've never even won 4 on a bounce this season. So I don't expect them to be in the top 4.
Guys, as always, I mean, let's keep the conversation going. Will Conte stay? Will Conte be fired? You see the reasons Spurs are not reaching their fullest potential. Come to our YouTube page, Sports 101. Pass your comments. Share the page, engage with everyone on the page, and then we expect to have quality feedback from you guys. As always, we are shooting from the studios of Art Focus Studios in Alaji, Takrady, Ghana.